All right, freaks and geeks, we are out on a 1 hour ride, and it needs to be 1 hour because the sun's going to go down and I only have an hour on the video camera anyway. So as you can see, they just paved our street, and well, they're not done over here yet, but I have mixed feelings about that because this asphalt street, when it gets old, it gets all rough and uneven and little cracks and stuff, and it's awesome for preparing you for trail running because you have to watch where you put your feet, and the uneven surfaces kind of torque your ankles a little bit. All right, everybody, I have the right of way. I got the rear radar on. Oh, I need to start my bike computer. And this is our farewell voyage on the Nishiki for a while, maybe. Got a new frame, which is a really cool story. My old frame that cracked, I actually managed to get it warranted, even though the company is not in business anymore. But very careful choosing of words, and also a good company and really good customer service. And it turns out that the parent company, it's really windy today, so we gotta talk a little bit loud. The parent company also owns Niner. So my frame was a Vast, which is a magnesium frame, which I'm not sure if magnesium has anything to do with the reason it cracked, because Kai's been riding his for 1.5 years longer than I have, maybe, and his is fine. So, and he races hard on his. But I'm a bigger guy and on a size bigger frame, and the bigger a frame is, the more the distance between joints acts more like a lever and can crack stuff. Woo, we got some headwind. And let's see. Yeah, the frame's coming in. It came in, and it doesn't have a bottom bracket. So I had to source a bottom bracket that'll fit my old Praxis cranks, because I like them because they've got carbon crank arms on them. So I'm moving all the parts over, and when I got an email back from Vast, it was actually from the parent company that owns Vast and two other bike brands that I think I'd heard of, but I wasn't really familiar with. They weren't really like performance bike brands. And then Huffy. So the parent company of Huffy has big pockets, and also Niner. And I love Niner. Niner's an awesome, awesome brand. And so in all the email exchanges back and forth, I mentioned, hey, you guys wouldn't mind if you sent me this one Niner frame if you can't source a Vast one, because I go on Vast's website, there's nothing there. The website's there and the bikes are there, but there's no inventory, which means they're all out. I think the company's gone out of business. And honestly, you know, this Niner frame has room for a 50 in the back, 50 millimeter tire. And for me, that is glorious. It is so much bigger than the 42 I've been limited to, and I would love it. It's just a word of caution out there. And I just read something yesterday where somebody was saying that they cracked their frame and fork because of underbiking. And underbiking is where you ride a bike that's not really meant for the terrain. It's too fragile. So riding a road bike off-road, or riding a gravel bike on mountain bike trails, or jumping off curbs and stuff like that. In racing is really intense. I've raced Kai so many times and done a bunch of gravel races. And man, you hit stuff at high speed because you have to. And it's a really great way to crack your frame. And so there's this Niner frame out there. It's a little bit out of date. I'm gonna wait here for this car to go by. It's a little bit out of date. Oh shoot. There's cars coming in. Oh well, I'll stay on here. I can eat up about half of this bottleneck by going on this sidewalk. But then I gotta come to a stop down here at this low spot, which sucks, on a single speed. By the way, I'm on a single speed. Yeah, here he comes. And also, by the way, I got carrots on me. So we can feed Ezekiel. And taking the lane a little bit so I don't get passed on this, in this bottleneck and get squished. And now I'll move over a little bit. And the frame on Jensen, which is a big catalog ordering thing, is $600, $615. But talk about a proven frame. You go online and you read reviews of, I don't need a carbon frame, and then also metal frames take abuse better, so aluminum, titanium, steel. And gravel, you have where the frame gets hit from rocks, a lot of times being shot sideways by people around you. If you ever listen to the audio at the beginning of a gravel race from like Justin McQuarrie or somebody in there, if you've ever been in the beginning of a gravel race or ridden in a big group in gravel, you just hear all of this pinging, pang, bang, ping, pong. Like, what is going on? And people's bike tires are shooting gravel sideways as they put pressure down on the rock. The rock shoots sideways. And so it's just like hitting your frame with little and big rocks like coming out of a slingshot. And that could have been what took out my frame. So my frame cracked on the chainstay on the non-drive side. No other corrosion anywhere else, you know. So anyway, let's see. Yeah, they sent a frame, and it comes with a fork and headset. What they said was ceramic bearings. I didn't really look there or not. I don't really care about ceramic bearings in the headset. And a thing to know is if you have ceramic bearings, you need ceramic races with the bearings roll into. They both need to be made out of the same material. If you just have ceramic balls, then the race that they're embedded into is made out of steel. think ceramic's harder than steel, so it just wears into the steel and ends up tearing things up over time. It's not really an upgrade that you're worth paying for. There's nothing wrong with stainless steel bearings that are taken care of. And I speak from experience. I once interviewed the starter of Ceramic Speed, and I interviewed his pro triathlete wife, and as a gift, unsolicited, after the interview was over and I published it, they asked my address, and I was like, I was where, and then they sent me Ceramic Speed bearings, the full set. And I put it on my white BMC time trial bike that I had. And you could tell like a little bit of improvement in places. But I remember the bike shop mechanic was like, do you know how much these are worth? It's like, yeah, I do. And it's like, this is nuts. And he was excited to work on it just to have something cool to work on because it was that neat. So anyway, I had to source this bottom bracket, finally found one, had to special order it because I don't think they're making them anymore. And Kai works at a bike shop. If you're new to the show, my son races pro off-road and also collegiate, and works at a bike shop. He's at his second bike shop that he's ever worked at. And so he's put in the bottom bracket. He's really excited about building up the bike. But then they also sent the wrong color bike and the no fork by accident. And the one reason I wanted that frame is there's a baby blue version of this frame that is just, oh my God, it's got topo lines painted on it. The whole frame is this baby racing blue. And I'm a big sucker for bikes that are bright because it's one more point for you in the statistics column to keep you from being hit by a car. You know, dark frames out on the road are, if you're going to get a frame, you might as well get one that's bright colored. You know, since you're already getting something. If you're going to get a helmet that's bright colored. You know, but dressing all stealthy is like, why do that to yourself? Because statistically, you're way more likely to get hit. Let's pause here because we got a light. All right. We are turning on First Dirt. Forgot the name of this road. But yeah, so Kai's, he's got the privilege of working on bikes that he wants to for fun at his bike shop. On the side, not during work hours, but so he's taking it up there and he's going to swap all the parts over. But oh yeah, so the frame color. So when we did this whole unboxing video, but I published it because I was like cursing. I'm like, what the hell? That's not right, you know? It's a huge letdown. But the thing is the frame that they sent, it's painted. They have a color scheme that's titanium colored paint. The bike looks titanium with light blue decals, and that's what they got screwed up. The guy, customer support, said, man, I'm so sorry. I'm in Ohio, and the warehouse is in California, and yeah, I can see where that got screwed up because it says blue in the frame color name. And then I'm in that whole position, you know, do you look a gift horse in the mouth? I'm lucky that I got a frame out of this at all because my bike company is non-existent. And so, but then they forgot the fork, and the fork that would come with it is, in my opinion, is ugly. I'm like, ugh, no, I don't want that. And he said, how about we send you a new fork that's off of the same one on your old frame that's all black? And I was like, Oh, that's, yeah. Because titanium bikes look really good with black forks. That's like a standard thing, black carbon forks. I have a titanium road bike in my garage with a black carbon fork, and it looks freaking awesome. And that's one way you know something's titanium. But yeah, Kai's first question was, is that thing titanium? And then when he was working on his shop, pressing the bottom bracket in, he had 2 or 3 people ask if the bike, looking behind me because I'm going to paperboy up this thing, is that frame titanium? And I was telling Kai, Jensen still has the frame in light blue, but Jensen's not the one doing the warranty, you know. And I told Kai, I said, hey, if this, and he really likes it, by the way. Loves the titanium looking frame. And then the black fork showed up. And I have a lot of faith in that fork because it's the same fork I have on my old bike. And let's see. We got a funny street name coming up here. And then I'm gonna get off the camera for a second, because we want a video filming Ezekiel, or feeding Ezekiel. Jesse Thomas, famous triathlete. Not his street, but named after somebody named Jesse Thomas. All right, we'll be right back. All right, everybody be very quiet out here right now. We're in the territory of the vicious attack donkey. There he is. There's Ezekiel. Once a gentle giant, now vicious defender of his property. What's up, Zeke? Let's see. Ba-ba-ba. How you doing, baby? Huh? This is 2 times in a row. Wait. We're gonna do one at a time. There you go. That way you don't choke. How you been? So one of my other friends that feeds this donkey on his rides got attacked by a dog, and there you go, riding the Great Divide Trail, GDB, whatever, and actually needed to go to the doctor. I don't know if he needed stitches or not, but big dog. Bye-bye. But there's a video where I filmed the dog, you know, trying to bite me. It was a big dog, and he was semi-vicious, and I sprayed him with a water bottle. It caused all this controversy. Oh, you didn't really need to spray the dog. He would have been fine. Or cyclists are the worst. Dogs are the worst. The people that had nothing to do with the dog, that warned me about the dog, people misread that and think that he's their dog. Bye, Zeke. And the comments have just gone crazy. People attacking each other and whatever. But yeah, you do. I got chased by dogs yesterday, and I had to. People think I don't know anything about dogs. This guy's an idiot. He doesn't know anything about dogs. He's never been chased by dogs before if he thinks that's a dog attack. And yesterday I had a dog try to bite me. Pretty good. And had to use more than a water bottle on that dog. And yeah, so that's the life we live. That's a good dog. That's a big dog. Right, buddy? You happy? Look, he's wagging his tail. Okay, let's go. We're about to hit gravel. One of my favorite hobbies is trolling the trolls. The trolls say something really stupid, and I'll say something even more stupid back to like make fun of them. And yeah. Anyway. But my friend is very calm and cool, does not overreact to anything. And next town over, he got treated by doctors, and that's what happens out there, man. I mean, at least it wasn't a bear, you know. So Ever got a sweeping curve? There's no shame in sticking your leg out to drift. It can be faster in many ways. So I'm sticking my leg out. Right leg out, obviously. That's nice. Hard to tell on camera, that's downhill. I would say it's off camber, but a sweeping turn that's got deep sand in it in places. And it's always moving around. You don't know where it's gonna get weird on you. But anyway, yeah, the Niner will hold a 50 in the rear. The fork, since I own one already, that's old, I know it holds a 50 in the front. And there's all this controversy about mountain bike tires and all that other stuff, and big tires. And this one's got a mountain bike tire in the front, more for the novelty of it. It does slow you down, but then you don't have to pick a line when stuff's really, really rough. Where I live and race, a 50 is fine. But a 42 in the rear is definitely suboptimal, as Chrissy Wellington said. Look at that beautiful sunset. Probably wrecking the lens on the camera. I need to clean the lenses. That's how you know I'm an actual real racer and rider and athlete, is I got gravel grunge and just places it. I don't always have the time to clean out every single ride. And I've gotten in the habit of videoing, I'm going this way, of videoing almost all my rides, especially in the dangerous parts, kind of like a dash cam. We got a big downhill here. I'll be back in just a minute. Got to save some video card because I'm almost out. All right, be right back. All right, got our pavement ends. About to hit some more gravel. I looked up on the thoroughfare plan. This thing's going to be a highway someday. It's unfortunate, but that's what we got. Yeah, so this might be the farewell ride on this bike. My goal is to keep a gravel bike a single speed around. I was torn between, the other thing about single speeds is it's a culture. And if you're a real single speeder, you ride one all the time. So in a weird way, you're kind of betraying the culture by riding anything but. But if also you're a racer, or if you're doing something really long, like the Central Texas 300 coming up, gears are really nice. And so one of my first thoughts was, I'll train on single speed and race on geared. And I mean, like, talk about an advantage. It's a little sketchy right here. Gotta be careful. Because imagine you're used to climbing hills with just one gear. And then on race day, you're like, I got another gear? Wait, I got another gear? I got another gear? I got more? Oh my God, this is so fantastic. And so how much easier it feels to race when you're used to training on single speed. So we got a nice turn here. One reason I like riding in the evening, and it's going to be short term because the sun's going down sooner and sooner, and eventually I can't get home in time to a ride in the evening. But without grabbing lights, and then you're getting in the unnecessary risk, you know. And yeah, so the frame is hydroformed aluminum. And I've had at least one hydroformed aluminum frame before, my old mountain bike. It's really interesting. What they do is they use hydraulic pressure of sorts inside the metal while it's soft. Or maybe it makes it soft, I don't know. So I got dust in my throat. And well, I like riding out here because I think I might see an animal. And God, it's the best when you see like a snake or a raccoon or something big. Just chill, a big armadillo. And paperboy. So I was telling, so they use pressure, and then the pressure from the inside out, they have like forms that they press it into. And so you can make really cool shapes of tubing using hydroforming pressure. And yeah, this old mountain bike had, and that what they also did is they polished the welds down before they painted the frame. So it actually looked like carbon fiber because the tubes were shaped like carbon fiber and there was no welds visible. It was really slick. So I was telling Kai, hey man, you want this frame, because he's digging it. And then that way you get wider tire clearance and all that stuff. And it looks titanium. I'll split the difference with you on the blue frame. And then we both get 2 new frames for $300 each. Because remember, that one was free, and then the blue one is 600 something bucks off Jensen. And the one downside of this frame, I mean, newer frames are having like mountain bike size tires, but again, it's kind of like there's so much debate about that, whether it's actually useful or not. And then also there's a problem with titanium where you think that's going to be your forever frame, but the next thing you know, they've changed the standard. You know, my titanium road bike, in the rear, I think it'll hold a 25 at the most, and its rim brake and the geometry is a little bit rides high instead of in the bike, right on top of it instead of in it. And this is nice, right? The guy's a racer, you know, and he's like, I really kind of need the one carbon fiber. Which there's a saying, what is something that if you need it, you can't afford it, and if you can afford it, you don't need it. And the answer is XTR or Dura Ace, which is, or SRAM Red, which is the super high level bike componentry. If you're that good that you need it, you probably don't have a job that you're a pro racer. And look at that thing, that's cool. So the Brazos River is right there, behind me now, within a few hundred feet, and people come down to this and walk the trail down, fish and stuff like that. There used to be a bridge across it right there. So this road's called Copy Bridge Road. And if you can afford it, you are a dentist. And do you really need XTR because you're not racing for your paycheck? You're doctoring for your paycheck. And anyway, carbon fiber. That's why I'm a big fan of state bikes, because their stuff's relatively inexpensive. And they make both carbon fiber and titanium. And in this whole panic to find a replacement frame in time for my next races, I messaged them, and they're like, we can't send you a frame, but we can send you a test bike and you can review it, ride the crap out of it for a while. And I was like, that'd be cool. Well, I try to figure out a frame thing. And so we might have a state bike on the way to test on the channel, which is really cool. I'd love to be a channel where we do more testing of stuff. And then also, I've been sponsored before by bikes. BMC, the titanium frame's a True North out of Canada, and we did a fundraiser one time, I think for that mountain bike. It was a Jameis mountain bike. I think I was spot 2 BMCs. But anyway, so, and I'm a bike nerd, so if I ever get around to doing a real bike review, then get ready, dude. I can tear that thing apart, give you my opinion on things. And on that note, the downside to the Niner frame is because it's a few years old, they've missed the window on frame storage. And so it's got no frame storage, which is not a necessity, it's just nice to have. You know, you could put some stuff in there and just forget about it until you need it, which is nice. So yeah, so Kai was like, well, I want to save up for a carbon race frame or something like that. I was like, all right. And it'll hold a 50 in the rear. But now kind of the standard is like 53. But for very little money to go all the way up to a 50 is pretty nice for racing. He keeps flatting on the rear tire during his races because his tire's too narrow. And it's really frustrating and demoralizing. Just race after race after race, having a rear tire flat, trying to figure out a tire that'll hold up. That's a 42, and everybody's like, well, just upgrade to a 50. It's like, dude, that takes a whole new bike. And then you're like, oh, it's a new frame. Well, by the time you buy a new frame, you're kind of like, all the components are old on your old frame and out of date, so you're talking a whole bike at some point. And he's in college, and paying for all that, we've got like other expenses. So if you can find a good deal or sponsor, then man, that's golden. But anyway, yeah, so we might be on the Niner for the next video if he gets it put together tomorrow, which is the plan. But there's unknown unknowns. You know, you start taking apart a bike that's been ridden a lot and you start finding things, or there's some kind of compatibility issue, you know, where something won't work. And for the Zen part of this show, I've been practicing patience, you know. But patience is a whole lot easier when you have a plan. Give me the title of this show. And when you have no plan and things are bad, that's anxiety. You have no way out and you're screwed and it sucks. And that's suffering and misery and all that. It is amazing how fast people's demeanor and happiness levels change. Even if it's bad news, at least they know what it is. You know, instead of a big example of that is being sick. You'd almost rather have a really serious bad diagnosis than just feel like crap all the time and not know what it is. Because if you know what it is, then there's advice and there's how to, you know, steps to treat that thing or work with that thing better. I need some water. Woo, down. second Zen moment is I had my employee review today. And it's so funny, you know, like you go and you start remembering all the dumb things that you've done that screwed up over the year. And you have no idea whether or not that really bothered your boss or not. You know, and do they really know about all the extra effort that you put into certain things that you never told anybody? You know, like I come up on the weekends at work sometimes, and I just don't tell anybody because I want to get stuff done. I have like extreme ownership over what I do, and I really love what I do, so it's no problem for me. But also, I'm not a workaholic, and I've worked the same job for 20 years, and so I'm really efficient at it, and I know what works and what doesn't. And so when I'm practicing patience at work to not work on something or not interfere, it's because I know that interfering with it or working on it will make it worse. But no one asks you that. All it does is just give the impression that you're working on something. And people get tired of you saying, well, last time, you know, we did that, it broke it. You know, and so anyway. So in your mind, you're getting all this like, oh no. So you're playing through it. It's anxiety. You're playing through something in the future. It's both ends of anxiety, and also if you're replaying stuff in the past, right? That's depression. It causes fear. It sucks. And it was really, really nice to get a good review and a really great conversation with my boss. I have two great bosses, and I tell you, the way you can tell somebody's a good person that you could work with is they don't interrupt you when you talk, and they look you in the eyes and put their phone down whenever you're telling them about a problem or something you're working on. And when my boss was new, our old boss was not like that. And was the first time he did that, when I was talking to him alone in his office, I was like, hey, what you just did, thank you. That is awesome. That's a really big deal. And it's because I'm a people person and I know how people work. And that kind of stuff is just huge. So anyway, my employee review went really good. Surprisingly good. And I was thinking before the show saying, yay, I get another year of health insurance for me and my family. Which is the crazy society we live in here in the United States compared to other developed countries. We were in Spain and somebody broke his arm on a training camp. Went to the hospital. They had no way to even accept money from us when we were like, so how do we pay? And it's like, what? Okay. Oh man, we just missed a deer. Anyway, this is a really cool road. It does this. But then the downside is you got to be careful in this last turn right here. Cars come flying around the corner like this motorcycle here, but you know, look how fast he's going into that turn. The car's not, there's not a lot of cyclists out in this area. There's some, but just not tons. So people aren't expecting it. All right. So yeah, you know, all this anticipation of this thing, this employee review, you know, like going wrong and stuff, and it really matters. You know, Emily's type 1 diabetic. I had to leave work early today because she was super sick because her insulin wasn't working right, bad insulin. I just needed somebody to sit with her, make sure she didn't pass out while her blood sugar was going all over the place until she got it under control. And yeah, that's a real deal for lots of us. Here's a miniature Yellowstone right here. I always joke. Yeah, so hydroformed aluminum. Hey, how y'all doing? And so I was talking with Kai, and I was like, aluminum's not a bad racing frame material, man. It's only barely heavier than carbon fiber, and then it's metal, so when it gets hit with dings and stuff, or just living life, it gets hit, you know, it's way more durable. And carbon fiber, you can't even tell it's coming apart, because it could come apart from the inside out. And we got to talk about titanium a little bit. And I said, well, aluminum's lighter than titanium, you know? He's like, what? But I'm like, yeah, this is really cool, because I Googled it just to be sure what I was talking about. And titanium's definitely lighter than steel. And of course, you know, corrosion proof almost. Or definitely. The only downside of titanium is once you have a forever bike, well, then they change the standards. Like what's coming out next in these bikes is 32-inch wheels instead of 29-inch wheels. You know, of course, they'll probably only apply to really tall people, but Kai and I are both, he's 6'1" something, and I'm 6'3". So I could definitely use a bike with a 32. So there's another standard that changes that would make me faster if I adopted it. So having a forever bike really isn't all that. You think bikes wouldn't change that much, but they do. And I was like, well, aluminum's really light, man. And it's corrosion resistant too, to a point. Like it's pretty good. I remember when aluminum frames came out, we were just over the moon. All the Cannondale stuff, I had 2 Cannondales. Specifically because it's aluminum and it's like, it won't rust like steel will rust. And I said, I think it's lighter than titanium. He's like, no way. So I Googled it, and yeah. The aluminum is not a bad place to go, and especially hydroformed aluminum is can be as light as mid-grade carbon. And honestly, for heavy-duty off-road use, my triathlon bike, because I'm a bigger guy, I specifically was fine saving some money and getting mid-grade carbon instead of the super high-end carbon, because it makes a difference of like half a pound. But the carbon is more durable, you know? It's not this barely making it out into space stuff. It's like strong. And so, yeah, I mean, maybe a hydroformed aluminum frame is a bad idea. The downside is, you know, no tube storage. But again, I think we're a few years away from that being universally accepted as you got to have it. And also there's a lot of races being won on specialized cruxes. And I don't think those things have anything as far as storage. I'm not positive. But, and then last year's Gravel Nationals was won on a titanium bike, not carbon. So, you know, I think all the frame materials are pretty freaking great. And if you've ever ridden a really nice steel frame, well, I've ridden many. It's wonderful. They're just heavier. But if your race doesn't have a lot of vertical in it, then it doesn't really matter that much. It's about the aero of you, your helmet, your fork, and your wheels. And the lightness of your wheels so they spin up faster as you slow down and speed up, slow up, spin you down. especially in like mountain biking. Anyway, let's see. We got a nice little descent here. I'm gonna keep recording while the camera's still going and we got just a little bit of light left. Oh, it tells me how long I've got here on the remote. Nice. So, what the frame does have is aluminum bolts. It's got frame bolts for a frame bag, so you don't have to strap the frame bag, and they make their own frame bag. And I was super excited about that until I went to their website today to order one, and they don't have my size. I'm like, what? So I'm gonna email Niner and say, hey, is this, you don't have any like anywhere, or where can I find one? And if anybody out there knows where I can find apparently a large, even though it's an extra large frame. I think because the frame's thicker and bigger than the steel frames, there's a little bit less space in the triangle. Like that. Wait. Yeah. And oh, gotta climb this hill. Car up. Give him a wave. Always wave at everybody. I thought he was yelling at me. Turns out it was just country music. And an interesting feature, which I've never had before on a frame, is it's got two bolts, and we're joking, it's got two nuts down by the bottom bracket on the underside of the down tube. And it's a place to hold another water bottle or storage. If you're going to put a water bottle down there, do not use that lid to drink out of, because that's going to be solid cow poop and road debris and stuff. But what I do have is you've probably seen it, a black X-Lab container, and it's the shape of a big water bottle, but it screws together so it keeps water out. And it's a great cargo storage thing. And then the weight's down low, which is nice for center of gravity issues. Might even protect your frame against some rock strikes too. Yeah, so So this hill doesn't look like much. Start back at Creek Channel back there, but it's this long drag up just like a 2% grade, probably 3% grade, but it goes into the predominant wind pattern here. And man, it can wear on you. Or Kai was like, and up that huge hill, and I'm like, what are you talking about? And then I came out here and rode it. I was like, oh yeah, this thing's some work. Real pretty sunset over there, if y'all can see it. So I've got a video out that's kind of semi-viral, I guess. It just got a lot of attention right up front. We'll see. My aim is not to go viral. It causes a lot more drama than you really want. You shouldn't do it just to do it. if you've got good content, it just does it on its own. Oh my gosh, I have two. So yeah, so David Goggins has made a resurgence, and made this video running this morning. It's like, dude, you don't have to be like David Goggins. He's not really a role model like you. Go hard, you know. Which I went to military school. I was in the Marine Corps military school, and that's all I heard all day long, and it pushed me beyond my limits and turned me into who I am today and all that stuff. But I've also learned as I've gotten older, you can't be like that all the time, and it's not somebody you should compare yourself against. If you're in a hole and you need to push yourself out, think of David Goggins and how hard he's going. But if it's like you've got COVID or the flu, and you're feeling sick, like, I gotta go to work anyway. It's like, no, dude, you're gonna get everybody else sick. You know, think. And I was doing long distance stuff before Goggins showed up doing it. And I remember he came on the scene and everybody's like, oh, this guy's gonna be amazing. And then he blew himself up and decided to, you know, get out of the spotlight for a while. Here comes the cyclist. And a lot of drama and all kinds of stuff, and having to defend himself, and then saying things like he doesn't even like to work out. Said so himself. He doesn't like running. But the big lesson from him is his first 100-mile trail run race. He broke all the bones in his feet. Right? That's not smart, man. You know, like, that's not. I'm not saying he's dumb. I'm just saying that's how motivated he is. That you got to watch out. And then I thought, do I have the right? You always got to check yourself. Watch out for this car. Make sure they see me. They almost didn't. And you know, do I have the right to publish something and say, don't be like David Goggins all the time out there? And I thought, wait, yeah, I do, dude. I'm a member of the group of elite ultra distance. I don't know if I'm elite, but people that have done amazing stuff and know how to do it and know what it takes. And so I was like, yeah, I'll put out there. And the real question I asked myself, this is interesting, is am I afraid of David Goggins? And no, I'm not at all. Because one, that dude, I'm also a big fan of David Goggins. That dude is smart, he's cool, talk to him. And he said something that was so cool. A comedian was using him as an example about her husband. And he said that in the comments of that, and you're waiting for him to say, you know, people were making fun of him and F you, he curses a lot. And he said that the comments turned political or something, or gender, I don't know. And he's like, you people are idiots, you need to stop it. And that upped my respect for him even more, because I do have a ton of respect for him, because he was a Navy SEAL and I wanted to be a Navy SEAL. And his big story is he kept trying out and kept failing. And then he finally made it through perseverance. And losing a lot of weight, so that he had to trim down. There we go, nice hill climb there. But you know, I stand on similar ground as I got picked on and bullied when I was a kid, and I ended up getting really big, and then doing all kinds of awesome stuff, and finding myself and all that other stuff, and so no, my race resume speaks for itself. I'm fine, you know. You can't, yeah, at first, because I haven't done anything like major like lately, because I've been a good dad, you know, and doing stuff for Kai, and so I do what he wants to do, and I'm like, but if you look back, I got a race resume page, dude. I've done some freaking awesome stuff, and I've also sent myself to the hospital twice. you know, and I know what I'm talking about. And yeah, so let's leave that alone. And then this house right here on the left, I'm going to show you all this. No, I'll leave them alone. I don't want to dox anybody. There's a house I passed the other day that just had a ton of surfboards out front, which is rare around here. And I'm a surfer, and I'm like, hell yeah. Anyway, the other person I want to dog on a little bit is this guy. And Rich Roll and I go way back. Rich Roll and I are friends. We've hung out together, done stuff together. He's been to my house and made a veggie smoothie in my kitchen. And I helped him get started. Not really. I'm sorry. I gave him advice on how to get started podcasting. So, well, like a lot of people. But anyway, he had this guest on that's an author. And it really started to irk me. The guy's a famous author. And he kept saying things like, you know, I'm the best. I'm the best. I need to be the best. But it was intermixed in with things like, I want to change how things are done. I want to be basically like game changing. And like, I've learned, you can think you're pretty freaking good, dude. And all it takes is somebody else better to show up for you to realize that there's a whole lot more people out there than you. And if you have to try that hard to be the best, there's people out there that don't try at all and are the best. And also, it's off-putting to say, I'm the best, you know. And then like you think that like China and India are like 4 or 5, I don't know how many times bigger than English-speaking America. And you think that there's not somebody there that can string together words better than you, that you just haven't heard of yet? The chances of you being the best, 0.0000001%. And anyway, if you're the best, you're only the best for a short time. Right? So don't hang your hat on that. Now, wanting to change things, I love that. You know, and people that really change things, that after they did a piece of work, nothing was the same after that. That's really cool. And that just comes from who you are. It's a pretty course. I don't know why my camera keeps turning off. And you being you. And you can't help it but do what you're doing. You know? And so moments, I lived through a moment of that with Nirvana and Smells Like Teen Spirit, where we're driving in a car with all my friends, my freshman year in college, and either somebody had the CD or it came on the radio. I can't remember which one. I'm taking the lane because there's a car coming up behind me as well. There you go. Now you can go do what you want. For my own safety, so I don't get squeezed. So now we got a bike lane. That song came on the radio, and music was never the same, ever, after that, right? Now the Kurt Cobain and these other guys go around saying, I'm the best, and I'm gonna be the best, and I'm the best #1 player. No, they couldn't help but make that music because it reflected who they really were, you know? And kind of like my advice in podcasting is what I told Rich Roll was, make them for yourself, make it as a hobby, And then that way you're doing it the way you want to do it. And Bob, what's his name? The music producer. God, he's so awesome. Bob, he produced the Beastie Boys and Johnny Cash and all kinds of just like the biggest hits, biggest records. He said, make it for yourself. And then the quality will be so good that people will want to listen to it. And my advice was, don't look at subscriber count specifically, because what you'll start doing is you'll start chasing subscribers, and then you'll start doing things that aren't you just to try to get subscribers. Do things that are you, and the subscribers will come. And that was my best advice. I got advice to a lot of people. Just avoid your subscriber count pages until you get a really good, like you're really happy with how you're doing things and you feel like you're really creating art. And yeah, so we got 11 minutes audio left, 11 minutes of sun. Yeah, so I forgot the guy's name, and honestly, I never read one of his books, you know, because I get books through word of mouth and things I want to read like that, and like I don't look at who's the top author. There's so many authors that have written one thing and then never come back. J.D. Salinger. I have another favorite. Zen in the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance. You know. They're like one-hit wonders, and then they just leave and then never come back. Calvin and Hobbes, you know, after he was done, just never came back. Bill Watterson. No, and people that are just revered for their work. Einstein, you know, like these people like changed the world, but they never said, I'm going to be the best, you know, as part of their goal. They just do what they feel like they can't help but do. And it goes back to your training, is do what you love, and then it's kind of like your job, you know, do what you love, and you never work a day in your life. But if you really enjoy stuff, then you'll do a lot of it. And that's one of the keys to like people that are able to go pro or to the Olympics, is they were good at something, and because they're good, there's like this reward pattern that's self-reinforcing. And there was one last thing I was going to talk about. Oh, I want to normalize wearing 2 watches. You see, I'm wearing a watch on this side, and there's a funny story behind this, and then my smartwatch on the other side. And of course it's goofy to wear a watch on each wrist, but you got 2 wrists. You know, you wear an earring in each ear if you wear earrings, if you wear them in both ears. Yeah. And these are 2 completely different kinds of watches. And this one, diving watch, so you can see it. It's got a built-in timing bezel, just bam. It's good for cooking in the kitchen, timing things. You want to see how long it took for you to do something, your drive. How long is this commute route from work versus this other one? You want to work on a task for 10 minutes, you know. And then it's always on, you know, and if it's quartz, it's crazy accurate. And if it's an automatic, it's pretty accurate, but then you'll never have to change the battery up. And then, you know, your smartwatch has all this like health metrics and stuff. But let me get to the point. I started off by wearing this watch, the smart one, on my left wrist, and then adding this other watch on my right wrist. And I normally wear a watch on my left hand, right? Always have. And I felt stupid, right? And it just says, it just shows, like, experiment with stuff, because you never know what the trigger is to make something all of a sudden better. The whole area is pink now from this sun going down. This is really cool. I need to lube my chain. So when I wore them flipped, I felt dumb. And then when I wore them the way I am wearing it now, something in my mind, and Zen is all about viewpoint. All you have to do is change your point of view, and all of a sudden you might see things a completely different way. And I was like, when I want to check the time, I reflexively do this, right? Because I've done this my whole life. That's the time. This thing is, you know how people wear like Wahoo, or what is it, Whoop straps and health band and stuff like that, and they'll wear them on the other. I'm like, this is my fitness and health, because I don't want to not wear this, because I love looking at my heart rate over the day and see where I was stressed out, that I can improve my life by going, oh, avoid that. Or I'll get a text message while I'm in a meeting, or I'm out running or something like that, or biking, and I don't want to pull out my phone. I can just look right here and then see what it is. And also I can see the one time a day or whatever I look to see when the sun's going down, which is right now. In fact, a minute ago. So now we're in twilight. Isn't this pretty? And we have 6 minutes left on the chip. Thank you for riding with me. We covered a bunch of different topics. And yeah, there's something where I want to make shows where the whole point is just this. We just talk and we're relaxed. And the world's so chaotic and stuff right now that it's just really nice just go on a bike ride with somebody and just talk about nothing. You know, and tune in and lower your stress. Okay. She waved at me. That been hard to see on the camera. And like with the employee review, you know, like Emily even said it, you know, quit stressing out about it. You don't know how it's going to go. And I was like, yeah. And the patience of let's stop this. Of when you're putting a bike together from parts, and you're having to source parts and take parts off of other bicycles, it is a jigsaw puzzle of unknown unknowns, because there's all these different standards. Let's turn off this blinky light and save the ride. We did 18 miles, I think. Yeah. That was nice. And so, yeah, we're going to run into, when they sent the replacement fork, the all black fork to go with the titanium looking frame, the axle that they sent with the fork didn't work on that fork, even though they inserted it most of the way into the thread pitch is different. It won't thread in. And Kai was like, you're going to have to take the axle off your old bike and use it. And it's like, how do you miss that? But again, in an industrialized world, parts being sourced from all over the place, you just never know. All right. Everybody stay safe out there. Keep the up and the down out. Bang.